Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where once again I have invited Citrix and one of their partners onto the podcast to explore how technology is empowering employees and organisations to unlock innovation, engage customers, and be productive anytime, anywhere. And at Star2Star, they are on a mission to help organisations overcome the reliability and quality limitations of other communications technologies. And Star2Star have built its reputation on unifying customers' voice, video, fax and instant messaging and presence management into a single, easy-to-use system. So today, I want to learn more about Star2Star and the problems that they are solving for their customers. And I also want to explore how they're collaborating with Citrix and the future of intelligent workspaces and how they are evolving for connected workers. But enough scene setting from me. It's time to get Mick Miralis from Star2Star and Nitin Sharma from Citrix onto the podcast to find out more. So a massive welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Nitin Sharma, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Citrix underneath the Workspace Services group, predominantly focused on the app and desktop side of the house.
And I'm Mick Miralis. I'm the Executive Vice President for Channel Sales in the Americas at Star2Star. And I wear a number of hats. One, I look after some of our strategic relationships, including Citrix, and also responsible for growing our mid and enterprise business here in the US.
Well, thank you so much to both of you for taking the time to join me today. And I'm conscious that there will be some people listening that will be hearing about Star2Star for the very first time. So to begin with, Mick, can I ask that you tell everyone listening a little bit more about the type of problems that you're solving for your customers?
Yeah. So first off, just to put Star2Star in context, we historically have been a voice solution provider. Think of us as an ISV with a very strong voice communication collaboration background. But today we're not only focused on delivering a top-notch or a high-quality solution in that space, but we're focused in a number of areas with our customers. One is how to drive, obviously, productivity across the business and take out cost and complexity. Other areas where we're looking to develop our solutions is a completely integrated suite of not only delivering an integrated voice communication collaboration solution, but integrating that solution into relevant applications that our customers use to not only collaborate and deliver on their own core business functions, but also how they engage with their own customers. And in the context of our Citrix relationship, of course, we take that complete solution suite, which is based in the cloud, SaaS enabled and so forth, and make that available as an integrated solution in that Citrix desktop or workspace, so that ultimately that end user can have the best user experience in the market, a digital experience, and ultimately be able to deliver and engage with their own customers in a secure experience, leveraging our solutions plus the technology that they're using to do their business.
And as an outsider, when I think of Star2Star and Citrix, what springs to my mind immediately is almost a dynamic duo for enterprise communications. But I'm curious, how do you see the relationship and what problems do you think you solve together for the modern connected remote worker, which, let's face it, is pretty much most people now. But Nitin, I'll throw that one to you first.
Yeah, so we've, Citrix is, for folks familiar, we've long been sort of leveraged that solution for secure remote access, companies looking at, replacing their VPN with something a little bit more dynamic. And, that goes into with a lot of the events that happened last year, companies that were using VPNs we're seeing, limitations to the actual productivity performance of those users, because there's more than just providing single remote access to an application. Now that there's a broader subset of data and desktops and apps that go beyond just more, 20 years ago, you probably could have done the work within one application, but now those applications are probably, a user's probably interacting with 10 or 15 applications. a lot of times they can be resource intensive, and accessing them remotely could be, pretty, not a great experience. So from just the experience side of the house, when, Citrix is looking at addressing the, the productivity and performance of allowing that, person to work remotely and work from anywhere, without any impact to, how it is that they're working. And there's some IT administrative tools that also come with it that help support that remote worker, especially within the security side of it. So really the intent is to help a company look at enabling remote work as a new way of working, instead of a sort of, I just need you to work remotely just for a week or something, because we can't, it won't be a great performance with our non-Citrix solution kind of thing.
And Mick, how do you see that relationship and the problem that you're able to solve together for those remote workers?
Yeah. So everything Nitin said, there's no point me repeating it. Of course, all of it is spot on. From our perspective, we've partnered with Citrix. We consider them a best of breed desktop and infrastructure play from a user experience perspective. And our philosophy is really how to take that and combine it with our best of breed technologies and solutions and extend that into the business. So really, to Nitin's point, we're enhancing that user experience. We're laser focused on high levels of automation that can occur inside that Citrix workspace that drives ultimately a number of things. One, productivity, of course. We want to raise the productivity of our employees and encourage their collaboration both internally and with their customers. And another level, of course, we also want to improve that user experience and drive adoption. Anyone who invests in Citrix, not only are they in a Citrix-based solution, I should say, not only are they looking to drive productivity, but also accelerate the return on investment. So by partnering with Citrix, we're bringing the best of our capabilities, an integrated solution running natively in Citrix, enhancing that digital experience, accelerating that ROI that a typical user is looking for, driving adoption and enabling business. And of course, all of it ties nicely into that central theme today of, everyone calls it the new normal, but it's really about greater levels of flexibility across an enterprise now in terms of, either fully remote work or the flexibility of remote work, but ultimately being able to deliver that in a secure fashion on a stable, mature, and best of breed platform.
And if we go back over the last couple of years, I think almost every home user has drifted seamlessly from Netflix, Spotify, and all those online streaming services to different devices and just pick up where they left off. But now, here in 2021, the average remote connected worker will seamlessly drift through various subsets that meet their requirements. For example, Citrix and Star2Star customers can work within the Microsoft ecosystem too. So with that in mind, I'm curious, how do you see the landscape from the user's point of view, who face complexities with things like data, complex applications, Zoom, Teams, Slack, etc.? And how do you see this intelligent workspace evolving for connected workers? And Nitin, I'll throw that one to you first.
Yeah, so as I was indicating, kind of mentioning earlier, and Mick also kind of pointed it out, there's a lot more that users need today and workers need today. What it is that they need to do work. They're not using just one application. They're using multiple tools, multiple apps. They need to go across various devices, or if they don't need to, it actually improves their productivity. If they're moving from their home workstation to their workstation at home at the office. What Citrix does is, with all of those applications and all of that, the data, it's providing that sort of single one-stop application. So with the Citrix Workspace app client, which is also, there's a web client as well, our intent is to present all of the key things that those users are going to need to work right there in front, right when they log in. So it'll give them, access to those applications and desktops. But that's always been the long time Citrix story. We've actually introduced the intelligent workspace the past couple of years, where we actually can present aspects of an application to that specific user. That's part of their task. For example, if they're logging in and they have notifications to approve expense reports, which they would normally have to log in to SAP and go through multiple steps. What we're trying to do is give them that sort of intelligent action saying you need to improve these expense reports. It'll show up in their activity feed when they log in the morning. And then they'll be able to just do that and save themselves, multiple clicks, also in time. But it also goes into a lot of the number of communication and collaboration tools. We actually do a really good job, especially working with Star2Star, of ensuring that is that those communication collaboration tools are delivered in an optimized fashion, regardless of the device that they're on or the network that they are on or the location that they are.
And Mick, is there anything you can add on that, on how you see intelligent workspaces continue to evolve for connected workers?
Yeah, just building again on Nitin's central point there of complexity, I think the intelligent workspace, certainly in terms of the work we've been doing, and we're working closely also with the Citrix development team or product teams, is all around automation, driving productivity, and once again, enhancing that user experience. To your point earlier on, people are working with multiple applications out there. You see, without getting into the bits and bytes, but you see people and our customers and our partners, because we work purely through our partners. The constant feedback is anyone who's invested in Citrix, they want to avoid moving out of that Citrix environment and using third-party applications, which takes away, from productivity, it defocuses. There's a level of complexity in terms of engineering costs, etc. To us, the intelligent workspace is pivotal. Some of the examples that we've worked on and are working on are everything from our Salesforce integration. One of the recent use cases, also Microsoft Outlook integration. We can drive a reduction of about 75, 80, 90% in clicks through higher levels of automation and integration between applications, which simplifies that end-to-end user experience. And of course, tapping into that AI, if I can call it that, the AI layer with the intelligent workspace, the proactive allocation, prioritization of work, data, information that's bombarding that employee, all speaks to that productivity element and, of course, enhancing that user experience.
And I think one of the big benefits of working remotely used to be you could get away from all the noise and just focus on completing a task. But of course, now there's more noise than ever. There seems to be a notification going off every 5 seconds. What do you think the secret is to giving connected workers everything that they need while also reducing the noise and any complexities or hassle? And Nitin, I'll give that one to you first.
I mean, I think the key thing is ensure the solution to implement is simple and easy for the end user. As I was saying, when I was mentioning earlier about the intelligent workspace, is giving a sort of a tailored interaction that is specific to their role instead of them having to navigate through an application to do a specific task. It's just to launch their one application and present that task that they need to complete for them right then and there, and also give them access to their data right front and center. Like, you're starting to see a lot of these mobile devices like the iPhone and the Android. Now they're doing sort of smart, presentable things that they read and based off their history, it'll present them, hey, you normally, schedule a meeting at 5 p.m. Would you like to schedule a meeting? So it presents that sort of tailored approach, right front and center, easy for them to click and just be able to perform an action or task. And that's the thing. That's the secret is just really just ensuring that you're presenting a solution that's simple and easy for that user.
And Mick, is there anything you can add on that too?
Once again, it's all about simplicity, high levels of automation, high levels of correlation between multiple data sources. As I think one of the points that you just made, what really stands out for me is not only are people working remotely, but they're getting bombarded by notifications left, right, and center across these applications. So to me, at its core, there's fundamentally two things. One, how do you eliminate this, in quotation, the friction between these applications? And two, when you are automating and integrating, it's not a simple case of just pop-up integration. It's all about building a level of logic and correlation where we can take multiple data points and have contextual notification that allows an employee to make business decisions based on these notifications as opposed to a sequence of multiple notifications that just bombarding with data, right, and information. So that contextual element is absolutely important. And in fact, it's foundational to how we're integrating our applications and our solution set not only into Citrix, but also third-party applications, as I mentioned, Zoho, or pick a CRM solution. We're integrating into it and building a lot of business logic that drives that productivity and user experience.
And I think 12 months ago, every business was challenged with creating this. It was part of a big experiment almost of working from home at scale. And of course, we're all doing that now. And now the focus is switching to how can we work better and improving that experience. And like we were just talking about a moment ago, about removing complexity and friction between applications, etc. So for any business leaders or decision makers listening, can you offer any advice on how to create a better cohesive environment?
I mean, I think from my perspective, they could just buy the Citrix Workspace.
Yeah.
No, when we look at delivering a solution, our intent is to create that solution that solves a multitude of problems when you just have one vendor that can do that, instead of one vendor that's also working really well with other ecosystem partners like Star2Star. So we give you not only choice and flexibility, but also simplicity, where you have one solution that can give your support, access control, enable a zero trust policy, provide secure remote access, but also give you the choice of whether you want to be on premises with your solution, or you want to do a hybrid environment, or you want to go public cloud. And we also don't do vendor lock within the public cloud. So our intent is to basically create a solution that fits within your business, the company's business strategy, to support the delivery of the apps, the data, the desktops for that worker, so they can be productive, but also their own IT teams can be productive.
And Mick, any advice on making remote working better, or any tips that you could pass on to anyone listening?
Yes, I think there's a number of elements to it. At a foundational level, absolutely leverage the Citrix ecosystem. And in fact, I'll put a bit of a plug here. I would ask our listeners out there to go visit Star2Star and look at our connected workspace. And let me characterize that, because I think this speaks to the guts of how we simplify that and take away a lot of that noise. One, integrate with a focus on the role, function, and the contextual aspect of a user experience, both in terms of how they collaborate internally and leverage the solution internally, and also, of course, how they extend that experience to their customer. Because businesses not only operate internally, but they engage obviously with their customers. Eliminate friction between these applications. Don't do the rudimentary integration, but think in terms of some business logic and how you integrate across multiple sources of data. So there's automated logic built into that productivity. And then ultimately, of course, deliver a solution that is extremely flexible to your business. I'm working with customers today that are looking at, I won't say 100%, but they're looking at 70 and 80% of their organization continuing to operate remotely. Why are they doing that? Because they've seen their productivity increase, all right, or be sustained. So there's not, they're moving away from a brick and mortar sort of scenario. Now, of course, the pendulum will swing back and forth, but ultimately, I think if you can remove that friction, build some business logic beyond the rudimentary integration, higher levels of automation, and make it as flexible as possible, you will drive the fundamentals, which is user experience. You will eliminate cost. You will drive adoption, okay, and you will always ensure that productivity across your employees.
Fantastic. And just to bring to life what we're talking about here, I'm curious, do you have any use cases or examples that you could both share where you've actually made a real difference to connected workers in the last 12 months? I'm sure you've gathered a lot of stories over the last year, but can you share yours?
I think one of the biggest examples is pretty much supporting the huge shift of remote work, right? So we've always had customers that leverage Citrix solutions to provide remote access to a subset of their users. But then with the COVID-19 pandemic of last year, we had a demand from a lot of organizations saying, oh, we need to go completely across the board and immediately. So we've had a number of examples. There's specifically one, Sydney University. I think it's out of, hopefully I got their name right off the top of my head. They were the ones that they were initially using Citrix or leveraging Citrix, and then they, from a tactical perspective, and then COVID-19 happened and they needed to support not only the remote faculty, but also the remote students, remote learning. So we were able to, with the Citrix Workspace, be able to provide those access to those key, educational apps and resources to those students. So it kind of kept them productive without necessarily, kept them learning. There's a little bit of a pause, but they were able to get them productive in a short amount of time.
And Mick, is any stories you've gathered over the last 12 months or any use cases you could share?
I'll share two examples, in fact, because we're also a channels-based business, so I'll put it in context. From an end-user perspective, the most recent one, we're working with a customer, Salesforce integration. We're eliminating, I think, about 80% of the clicks. We're ensuring a higher level of, less duplication in terms of data input. And we're enabling the employees to be able to launch a session in a Citrix environment so that they have contextual communication and collaboration with their end customer. And Salesforce is the underlying tool. So that's an end user perspective. And the focus there, of course, is productivity and user experience. From a managed service provider, as I said earlier on, we have a lot of channel partners that we work with. Our connected workspace is a solution that we're providing to them. We're calling it a low-touch solution. And really, it's all about how they differentiate themselves in the market. And again, how do they bring those elements of what Star2Star does extremely well, leveraging a leading brand such as Citrix, which is very stable, secure, and all the value that it brings to the table, and then combining that with a third-party application, an EMR solution, CRM solution, whatever, so that they can accelerate the value they deliver to their customers across a particular vertical. Right? So both of those are, one's about speed and quality of value. The other one's about productivity and user experience.
And over the last 12 months, there have been a lot of challenges and maybe a little bit of frustration thrown into the mix too. But as we look forward, what is it that excites you about the road ahead and building this new future of work, which could be it's looking increasingly like more of a hybrid solution rather than working from home versus in the office. But Nitin, what is anything in particular that excites you?
Yeah, and before I was University of Sydney. I was dyslexic on my naming there. So for me, going forward, it's, as you're mentioning, there are more companies looking at a hybrid approach. Like I've had conversations with various friends of mine who have been working remotely for the past year, and they're not only excited about the ability to continually work remote, but their companies are embracing that hybrid approach. So, what it's going to transition to and eventually hopefully change the way that, how people do visualize or view work. Work is, instead of a place or a time where it's 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, work is essentially flexible, giving, the opportunity to have an individual take advantage of stuff within their personal lives, but also weave in work within their day. Now, I know it may sound sort of like, oh, well, this means that is the person going to be working all day? No, it just gives them an opportunity to be able to accomplish tasks, at the same time. Like I could be now checking an email or viewing an important document while I'm in line at the bank or at the post office. So it keeps me productive in both aspects of my life. Because I have easy access to, the tasks or the data or all the apps that I need within, the device that I'm using.
And Mick, is anything in particular that excites you or makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning?
I just want to build on Nitin's theme there. I think, to me, there's fundamentally two things that are really excite me from a visionary perspective. I think we all would agree that the nature of work has definitely changed. Whether it's going to be a 100% remote work universe moving forward, or maybe the other extreme, or something in the middle, I suspect it'll be something in the middle. But it'll be characterized by flexibility and choosing where I work. So, which really speaks to that central theme of what Citrix delivers to the table. The other part of it, though, that I'm additionally excited about, and really speaks to one of Star2Star's core strengths, is enabling that customer, that user, to be able to engage, and I'm not thinking about voice and phone systems. I'm thinking about letting them engage with their fellow employees and their customers, and be able to collaborate to do business in context of the applications and the devices they want to use. So really, I'm really excited about that. I think the remote work thing is amazing. It's accelerated. And that contextual collaboration with employees and customers to me, is a game changer. It makes using technology human in many respects.
And both Citrix and Star2Star are hugely successful in their own right. But I'm curious, what is it that you both love most about collaborating together? Is there anything that stands out there?
Well, working with Mick and doing both these type of podcasts. But on the more serious aspect of it, we've kind of mentioned exactly why it is that we enjoy collaborating together. We're both looking at solving the problem that a lot of organizations are facing, helping them embrace digital transformation, helping improve productivity for their end users, and solving some of the today's business challenges, as well as any future business challenges that do come up. Like I think we're both designed to kind of help address and improve productivity within end users, and helping that remote worker or that connected worker become have that optimized experience to get their job done.
Mick, you both seem to have a real natural rapport and enjoy working together. But what is it you like most about collaborating with Citrix?
Obviously, I enjoy getting on these things with Nitin, and we do some brainstorming behind the scenes, etc. But broadly speaking, with a relationship at a high level at Citrix, I think we have a fantastic relationship. We're an absolutely transparent relationship. We're closely aligned in terms of where we see technologies and solutions going. So I think I'm excited. I continue to be excited about working with Citrix as a partnership. The technology is great. The transparency is there. The communication is perfect, and we have a dedicated team that works closely with them. On a more broader note, though, I'm also excited about the fact that I think we're delivering solutions. This is a clear example of 1 + 1 = 5. When you bring the two together, we incrementally deliver greater value to our partners, to our customers, and to our users out there. And I think we're a game changer, very simply.
Love that. And for anybody listening, Mick, that would like to find out more information about Star2Star or anything we've talked about today, what's the best starting point of finding you guys online?
Go to Star2Star.com. All our information's there. We talk about our solutions, our partnership, our connected workspace. Other than that, I'm happy to reach out to me directly also.
Excellent. And obviously Citrix.com is a huge site. Is there any particular area of the website where they can find out more information about how you're helping remote working, etc.?
We did have a remote work series. The easiest way to actually just find that is just Googling Citrix remote work series. But that will land you directly to that page instead of me giving you a very long URL. Citrix.com has all the latest information as far as our core products. If you want to get the latest updates on various features, our citrix.com/blogs is a very good resource that is just going to highlight all the key features, and sometimes there's technical deep dives in some of those blogs that are from the product managers or engineers. So that's a really good resource as well.
Excellent. I'll add those links to the blog post that will accompany this episode. But like I said at the very beginning of the podcast, we're all remote connected workers in some sense now, and we all seamlessly drift through various subsets just to meet our requirements. And I just love the work that both of you are doing, yes, in your own right, but also by collaborating together. But more than anything, just a big thank you for sitting down with me today.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
What a great conversation. And for me, I really enjoyed talking about how to build a cohesive environment so that connected workers can be effective and productive while removing complexity and friction between applications and all that noise that we're all too familiar with. Food for thought indeed. As always, please keep your questions, comments, song choices for our Spotify playlist and anything else coming over to me by simply emailing me, techblogwriter@outlook.com. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. I'll return again tomorrow. I've got another guest already lined up. But a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.